Hey there, peeps! It's me once again, and I'm back for another exclusive audio podcast session. This time, our special guest is no other than the community manager of Sovryn, Mr. Gimp. Alright, so Gimp, thanks for your time here with us, and welcome to the show.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Okay, so today is an opportunity for me and to all of you who are watching this video right now to learn more on what Sovryn is coming from our amazing guest speaker today about its ecosystem, use cases, and how it could make a difference in the crypto, blockchain, and DeFi space, especially that they have called it like the biggest DeFi on Bitcoin, so we'll see about that later on. So before we begin, I would like to say hello to all of our subscribers and viewers here who are watching our exclusive audio podcast right now. So before we go to the questions, make sure you don't forget to smash the like button, hit subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for you to stay notified about my latest videos and interviews regarding cryptocurrencies, blockchain technology, and DeFi. And you can follow my social media channels displayed here on the screen or in my YouTube description. Okay, Gimp, are we all set?
Yeah, all set. I'm ready here.
All right. So first things first, before we get to know more about Sovryn, it would be great for us to hear from you on how you get started in exploring the crypto, blockchain, and DeFi industry and ended up working as a community manager of Sovryn. If you don't mind, Gimp, could you share a little bit more about yourself and your journey in working for Sovryn?
Yeah, sure. So I'm known as the Gimp or just Gimp. That's a nickname from quite a few years ago that I won't get into explaining now. But I'm quite young. I'm 21. I'm from the UK. I've been working full-time for Vodafone since leaving sixth form, which is, I guess, college to the rest of the world. I'm a data analyst, so I guess I'm naturally interested in networks and technologies and that sort of thing. So it was almost inevitable that I got involved with crypto at some point, really. So I first got involved in 2016, 2017, I think, around that bubble time. I thought it was like the technology was cool, it was interesting, but really I was just the typical degen investor. You know, I put a tiny bit of money, whatever I had, into Bitcoin, Ethereum, and probably some other little alts, just let it sit in there, watch it go up, bubbled at the end of 2017, and then sold it all as it came crashing down January 2018. So didn't do too much between then and 2019. I did make a bit of money from it, so that did help with the house deposit, paying for furniture, new car, that sort of thing. So kept me positive on the crypto thing. I didn't lose anything, luckily. But I think recently, probably because of the DeFi summer in 2020, or was it 2021? Can't remember now. Time's gone too quick. I got interested in researching DeFi, but I put it in the same box as NFTs. So I thought that's something that's going on, but I don't need to be involved. I'll just sit here and hold my Bitcoin and be happy. But when I looked into it a bit more, it's very interesting. I started getting actively involved. I think I saw it was someone I followed on Twitter retweeted a podcast with one of the founders of Sovryn. So that's how I sort of found out about Sovryn. It was Eden Yago. Most people in Sovryn have heard of him. He's known as the hot Gandalf of Sovryn. So I entered there was some sales for the Sovryn token. I'll get into describing what that is later. But I entered the sale. I generally just started using their documentation, learning about the project, and started just answering people's questions in the public channels. So there's a Discord and Telegram channel. I was in there, people were asking questions, and I'd looked through the documentation, so I just started answering. And one of the Sovryn team actually reached out to me and asked if I'd be interested to come and work for them as a community manager. So I said yes, and here I am.
Wow. All I can say is that it was great to hear from you, Gim, about your journey towards the crypto, blockchain, and DeFi space, as well as ended up being the community manager of Sovryn. Wow. So you said that you are 21 years old. By the way, I am 34, by the way. and you know, I entered crypto when I was in my 30s. I wish I could have known crypto when I was still in my 20s.
I think we
But
all
anyway,
wish we knew it earlier.
yeah, I know. Yeah, but it doesn't matter anyway. But what matters is right now that we are finally here.
Yeah.
All right. So hopefully that in many years to come, you guys could make a difference with Sovereign. So the game, thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. Now, my next question is all about the mission and vision. I know that most of our audience here are crypto, blockchain, and DeFi enthusiasts, and they really wanted to learn more about the company's mission and vision in this disruptive global economy. Okay, Gimp, could you share with us about Sovereign's mission and vision for us right here?
Yeah, sure. There's sort of a short version and a long version. The short version is to bring true DeFi to Bitcoin. Sovereign's looking to be the financial operating system that's built around Bitcoin. I don't think anything like that has been built yet. Obviously, other chains like Ethereum and that they can try, but it's not decentralized fully. It's very hard to do. So Sovereign's trying to do it with Bitcoin. I think it's a first. I haven't really heard of anyone else doing it. But to really understand what Sovereign's trying to solve, you need to know the problems it's addressing. So at the moment, people are buying Bitcoin for two reasons, right? So the first is a store of value. And I mean, luckily for everyone who's buying it, it's not only storing the value, it's going up quite a lot. So that's only a good thing. But the second reason people are buying it is it often gets forgot about. It's a means of financial freedom. And I don't mean that in the sense of never needing to earn money again. I mean the freedom to acquire, store, transfer wealth whenever you choose to whoever you choose to at your own freedom. Bitcoin's decentralized, so no one controls it. I think we all know that. But this is important for people in countries that have like strict capital controls, or it's not safe to store other means of value. So boxes of inflated banknotes or gold coins or whatever that may be. So everyone's turned to Bitcoin at the moment. So following that theme, it's important that when people are using their Bitcoin, they're not having to trust third parties with the private keys or bow down to KYC regulations, which at the moment, if people want to use their Bitcoin, they generally have to use third-party centralized services like Binance, Bybit, the centralized exchanges. But there's quite a few problems with doing that, and Sovereign's looking to address all of them. So you have to give up your keys to these centralized services, and generally all you get is an IOU. It says if you give up your keys to your one Bitcoin, they take it and they say, yep, you have one Bitcoin with us. But I'm sure everyone's heard the phrase, not your keys, not your coin. And that's especially bad if whoever's custodying your keys is running with something like fractional reserves. So they may be lending one Bitcoin to you, and the same Bitcoin will be lent to 5 other people. And they're hoping everyone doesn't try to withdraw at once. It's the same as high street banks and cash. If everyone in the country went to high street banks and said, I'd like to withdraw all the cash in my account, please, they'd say, no, there isn't enough. So that's just one issue. Generally, all of these exchanges require KYC. That means they need your name, address, direct links to your personal bank account, something like that. And there's just no privacy there. So Sovereign's looking to solve that too. Most of the centralized services, to be honest, they just suck. Like Bybit, I think restricts users on when they can withdraw their funds. I know Binance is starting and stopping trading of whatever they feel like to manipulate whatever they want to manipulate. The exchanges are littered with bots. I think the main thing is people have no option to trust that these centralized entities are secure. So how many exchanges, custody services, storage mediums have been hacked or taken over the years? It's like, it's just not good enough. And I think the main thing that Sovereign's trying to get across is the Bitcoin community can and they will do better. So that circles back. That's the problem. Sovereign's mission is to expand on the monetary freedoms facilitated by Bitcoin. So this is to allow anyone to achieve true financial self-sovereignty. So that means you have the right to self-custody your own keys. You have the right to full privacy to whatever you decide to do with those keys, whoever you decide to send them to, wherever you decide to stake them. It's your business. It's no one else's business. So the vision is to build a free, uncensorable financial layer around Bitcoin. This is to allow people to trade, lend, leverage their coins permissionlessly while being protected by the single most secure network in the world, which sounds like a bold claim, but I'm sure we'll get onto that later.
All right, so that's a very interesting mission and vision that you have with Sovryn. I hope all of you here who are listening to our exclusive audio podcast right now are learning more about it. Let's just hope that with your strong mission and vision, you guys could make a huge difference in this industry. So, Gimp, thank you very much for that. About this next question of mine, this is really important for all of you who are listening to our exclusive podcast session, because I know most of you here have no idea or a little bit of idea or something that you did not understand yet about this project. It's all about the entire ecosystem of Sovryn, especially on how it works for crypto, blockchain, and DeFi enthusiasts around the world. Now, Gimp, if you don't mind, could you share to us how Sovryn's ecosystem works for us, especially claiming that you guys are the biggest DeFi for Bitcoin, and also your competitive advantages and benefits for users like me?
Yeah, sure. So Sovryn right now, they're providing the, I guess should call them the financial primitives. So gives you the tools to trade, lend, leverage, borrow Bitcoin and other assets. I think there's stable coins on there now. There's Tether, completely permissionlessly. So for example, you can go in the Sovryn dApp, buy and sell your Bitcoin against USDT, or you can borrow and lend your Bitcoin. You can leverage it. I think it's up to 5x at the moment. And for you to sign in, all you need is a Web3, I think just a browser wallet. So something like MetaMask, Liquidity, Nifty, all of those wallets, they're compatible. The main thing is there's no sign up for Sovryn. So there's no KYC. You just sign in with your wallet. At the moment, the dApp's for whitelisted users only, but we will be bringing full public access in the future. At the moment, it's just available to those who've joined the SOV token sales. We're kind of using the latest users. I think about 3,000 people entered the Origin sale. So we're using all of those as testers. They're testing the system. We're making improvements. They've been really good, actually. We have a Discord channel, and there's a user feedback channel in there, and they basically just tell us what's wrong and we fix it. So that's what's live at the moment, but there's lots to come. I'm sure we'll talk about that later. But at the moment, everyone just seems to be interested in the Sovryn token. You can call it SOV or SOV. So far, like I said, it's only been available to early investors or the people who bought in the sales. I think I've answered a couple hundred questions since I've been with Sovryn about when can I buy the token? Where will it be available? So I'll try and clarify that for everyone listening. All I can say is it's very close to being publicly available. So if you are listening, you can join our public channels. We've got a Telegram group. We have a Discord channel. There's also the Sovryn Twitter. I think it's just at Sovryn BTC. I'm sure you can put these links somewhere in the description or message me or something. But more importantly, what is the SOV token? So it has three elements to it. The first is governance. So Sovryn as an entity is controlled by the members of its community. So that's done through something we call the bitocracy. So that's a democratic system used to manage the development and evolution of the Sovryn platform. So since there's no controlling entity in it, decisions are made democratically through voting. So anyone who wants to vote, they would have to acquire some SOV, they can buy some, and then they can stake it. And in return for staking it, they're granted voting power in the bitocracy. So any strategic decisions that are made, I think the latest one was to take funds from the treasury to add liquidity to our fast BTC. implementation, the whole Sovryn community will vote on it. And their voting power is weighted by the length that they stake their tokens. So it incentivizes long-term commitment and thinking. So not going to get random votes because it affects them, affects the value of their tokens. The second element is risk mitigation. So the SOV token provides risk coverage for the protocol. So it acts as a pool of staked value that can be burned, redistributed, inflated, to prevent the offset of losses that might occur. An example I can give would be it could cover defaults on loans made within the system. So when you stake SOV, that's a risk that you're willing to take. You might get the value of your SOV might decrease when you stake if we have to cover lots of losses. But the third element is fee collection. So there are very small fees within the system for trades and loans. So Sovryn collects fees. I think it's 0.15% from trades, which you won't even notice, 0.09% from loan origination, and 10% from interest payments on loans. So all of these fees, they're collected by the system and they're shared as a reward for all the SOV stakers, and that's based on their voting power. So that's the incentive for people to buy and stake their SOV tokens, aside from being able to vote in the Botocracy. I do want to make one thing clear. I'm not here to shill the token. So SOV might be the governance token for Sovryn, but it's not required at all for anyone to use the DApp. So you can go in, you can use your Bitcoin, you can trade it, lend it, borrow it, whatever you want, completely anonymously without ever touching the SOV token. With that being said, theoretically, if Sovryn, the project, were to be very successful and the trading volumes increased in the system, then the staked SOV token would be earning more from the fees collected by the system. So theoretically, staked SOV would be worth more because it's earning more from the fees in the system. So the demand would go up for the token. Your viewers can take what information they make, whatever they want from that. I'm not financial advice here, but could be interesting for some people if that's what they're into. If they're interested in the project, again, I just say join the public channels. We also have a wiki, wiki.sovryn.app. That's got pretty much every bit of documentation you can think of, tokenomics, total supply, the release schedule, that sort of thing. So if you need any of that information, just go on the wiki. It's all well and good saying what Sovryn's doing, but how are we doing it? That's the main thing about the project. So Sovryn is a on-chain decentralized protocol. So its decentralized structure means there's no single entity that has control over the protocol, hence the voting, like I mentioned earlier. The key thing about Sovryn is it's deployed on the rootstock Bitcoin sidechain, which you can call it RSK. So this is the most secure smart contract platform in the world. And it might sound like a bold claim, but it's not. It's true because it's merge mined alongside Bitcoin. And what this means is Bitcoin miners will use their computational power to mine blocks on multiple proof of work chains at once. So with this, there would be the parent chain, which is Bitcoin, and the child chain, which is RSK or rootstock. Therefore, RSK being the child chain will inherit some of the security characteristics of Bitcoin. That's because it's secured by the proof of work that Bitcoin's doing. So I think about 40% of Bitcoin's hash power is merge mining with RSK. So that means RSK is mined and secured by more hash power than any other chain except Bitcoin. So I think that's quite important for security. You can think of RSK as enabling Bitcoin layer 2. So Sovryn will be the Lightning network of Bitcoin, if you think of it that way. It's layer 2. So it lets us use smart contracts, scaling technologies like rollups, and this makes transactions very fast, very cheap to do. I think even now we haven't implemented rollups as they could be, and I think the transaction fees are something like 50 cents worth of the token. So basically nothing. Being on rootstock, the native tokens are BTC, which is I think it's called Rootstock Smart Bitcoin, just RBTC. So that's the native token of the sidechain. So you would need RBTC to use the system because it's used in two ways. So firstly, transaction fees are paid in RBTC as it's the native token. And secondly, to use within the dApp. So how it works is you're using your Bitcoin, but you would have RBTC in your wallet on the RSK network. And our system will just recognize that as Bitcoin because it's on a one-to-one peg. If that makes sense. Please let me know if that doesn't, and I can explain it some more.
All right. So I hope that those of you who are listening to our audio podcast session right now have finally understood about the ecosystem of Sovryn, especially its real and positive use cases, and also its competitive advantages and benefits. You know, I'm very impressed with the concept of Sovryn so far that you have explained earlier regarding Bitcoin. So it's something that most of us around the world who are into crypto, blockchain, and DeFi really need to check this out. So anyways, Gimp, I appreciate the way you've shared this to us, so thank you. So let's proceed now with the next question. So I certainly believe that one of the key factors that would make the project grow in the long run are partnership. Okay, so speaking of the partnerships, whether they are on board or upcoming or both, could you at least name some of Sovryn's partners for our subscribers and viewers who are tuning into us in our exclusive audio podcast right now?
Yeah, sure. So recently, Sovryn partnered with Liquality. It's like liquidity, but with an L, Liquality. It's a Web3 wallet that provides trustless swapping services. So they provide atomic swaps, which means you can swap your Bitcoin for Ethereum or for RBTC or whatever you like, and it's completely trustless using their atomic swaps. I highly recommend anyone go over to, I think their website is liquality.io. You can go look at them. It's great what they're doing. It's completely trustless. So we recommend that as a way for people to get RBTC to use in the system. I think there are lots of partnerships upcoming. I don't think I can really talk about those yet until they're announced and finalized, but it's looking very good.
Wow, I mean, those are pretty solid update that you have mentioned to us right now about your upcoming partnerships. And so we're really looking forward to that. So I just hope that these partnerships that you have would continue to thrive for a very long time in order for Sovryn to become solid even more than ever. So once again, Gimp, thank you so much for sharing this to us. So let's move on to the next question. I had to admit though, in my previous interviews right here on YouTube and Facebook, most of my guests love to talk about their company or project's achievements. Now, speaking of the achievements, could you share some of Sovryn's accomplishments from the beginning until now?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So I think the most recent one would be we've introduced a method of swapping Bitcoin for RBTC called Fast BTC. So that's essentially doing the same task. The RSK network has a one-to-one peg between Bitcoin and RBTC. This is called PAL peg, I think, proof of work peg, which is the bridge. But this bridge would need 100 network confirmations for you to be able to swap your Bitcoin for RBTC. Sovryn very recently has managed to implement their own thing. It's working on the dApp. You basically press Fast BTC. It generates a deposit address for you to deposit Bitcoin to, and it takes one network confirmation, and then you'll receive the equal amount of RBTC. So I did it the other day, and the transaction fee was, I think, 60 something cents. So pretty crazy stuff when you think of other networks' transaction fees.
All right, so that's great to hear from you, Gimp, in sharing about the achievements that you guys have from the beginning until now. I honestly know that it's such a great feeling for you guys to accomplish the stuff that you have mentioned, and hopefully that Sovryn will have more achievements in the next few months or so. So well done to you guys. All right, so let's proceed now with the next question. I know that aside from the achievements that you have shared to us right here on our exclusive audio interview, we are also facing challenges as well. No matter what aspect of life are we in, challenges are always there and we're not exempted from it. Now, Gimp, could you share about the recent challenges that you guys are facing from the beginning until now, and how do you guys cope up with that?
Yeah, sure. I think the number one challenge, the number one priority for Sovryn is probably security. Like I said earlier, how many other projects have been hacked, hijacked, whatever you want to call it? I think what was there recently in DeFi? There was Cream Finance. I think even today, PancakeSwap had an issue with hijacking on some DNS of theirs, something like that. So security is definitely number one for us, and that's the reason we're working with Immunify. So I think around 2 weeks ago, we started offering the largest bug bounty program ever, which offers up to $1.25 million for the discovery of critical bugs, security flaws, something like that. Because we know security is number one. It has to be safe. As soon as it's compromised, the system's useless. People won't use it. It has to be safe. So that's why we're offering over $1 million for thousands of hackers to come. They go to Immunify, they go and test the system. If they find anything, they get paid for it, and we fix it.
Wow, I mean, that's really inspiring on how you guys cope up with those challenges to make Sovryn grow even more. Let's just hope that you guys would remain consistent no matter if those challenges are difficult. We've been into many storms in our lives, and escaping them is not the solution for us to become successful, but rather go through it until you finally overcome it. And that's what you guys have been doing these days. So, yeah, it's good for you guys to launch that bug bounty program, especially on the recent case that you have mentioned about the Cream Finance and PancakeSwap DNS issue, in which, yeah, I have seen it over on Twitter. Yeah, it was really unexpected, by the way. Hopefully they would fix that as well. Okay. So, anyways, again, thank you very much for sharing to us about the challenges that you guys are facing. Okay. So, let's move on to the next question. Now, this is something that most of the crypto, blockchain, and DeFi enthusiasts are looking forward to these days, especially Sovryn. The ones that I'm talking about are the project's future plans, exciting updates, and spoilers for the community. Alright, Gimp, if you don't mind, could you share some of the exciting updates, future plans, and maybe a little bit of the spoilers for our amazing subscribers who are tuning to us right now?
Yeah, sure. I think, where do you start? The amount of things coming in the future the roadmap looks crazy. There's going to be bridges to other chains like Ethereum. Going to start getting those assets involved. Of course, once you bridge to Ethereum, you have access to all of the assets that are built on there. We're looking at, there'll be conditional operations, so setting stop losses, take profit prices on your trades. That's more of a quality of life improvement, but it is coming. Big one, there'll be ZK proof shielded transactions. So that uses zero knowledge cryptography to provide complete anonymity when you're making transactions. And obviously, roll-ups with off-chain computations will give us almost infinite scaling. So we're actively working on implementing roll-ups. They look very promising, very fast transactions, very cheap transactions, and the big thing is scaling. And it all looks very good for now. One very, very recent, I guess you could say, spoiler. Sovryn is looking to integrate fiat on-ramps directly into the Sovryn system. So that's where you can buy crypto assets directly with your fiat money. So straight from your bank account, you can buy Bitcoin straight within the Sovryn system. And there's not many places that do that. So I thought that's quite big.
Wow, that's very nice to hear coming from you, Gimp, about the exciting updates, future plans, and other stuff that would make the community excited even more. So I'm really looking forward to these updates that would mean a bright future ahead for Sovryn. So it's going to be great, guys. So thank you very much for sharing this to me and to our viewers right here. Now, let's move forward to my final question for this exclusive audio podcast with you, Gimp. Okay, so assuming that our viewers here who are encountering Sovryn for the first time, here's the thing though. Give us some reasons why we should grab the opportunity to check out Sovryn right now rather than later. Like, what is it for us if we're going to check him out today? Or what could we miss if we're not on board with this?
Yeah, I think the number one reason to check out right now as opposed to later on, is right now Sovryn's just beginning. It's very early in development. We're functional. We have trading. We have the basic financial primitives operational, but we're not even fully public yet. So users are only whitelisted at the moment, and we're on the tip of the iceberg, you could say, of going public. We're very, very, very close. I can't give people a date, but we're very close to offering the SOV token publicly, listing to exchanges, having public access to the Sovryn DApp. Right now, it's the calm before the storm. And I would suggest, if you're interested in the project, I'm one of many community managers working for Sovryn. If you're interested, join our Discord, join our Telegram, ask us questions. We're there to help. If you have any questions about tokenomics, how to use the system, the security behind the system, how you can maybe look into being a part of the bounty program, any questions, find us on the public channels, ask us, because when it goes public, I have a feeling the channels will go a bit crazy and there'll be lots of people, lots of noise, and it may be a bit more difficult to do so. And also, it's DeFi for Bitcoin. It's not been done yet, and we're doing it right now.
All right, so you've heard it from Gimp today on why we should be checking out Sovryn today rather than later. Hopefully, Gimp have answered all the questions that I've asked him in our exclusive Audra podcast session, and no doubt that we've learned so much from him. So thank you very much for that, Gimp. Before we end, do you have any final parting words for our listeners here who are tuning into our exclusive Audra podcast session right now?
Yeah, I think if anyone's interested, just go to the public channels and ask questions, any questions you need. We're there to help. Sovryn has specifically hired community managers to answer these questions. You're not going to get pushed away or drowned out. We're there to answer. Obviously, same as usual, never give away your private keys. That's silly. Don't do that.
All right, so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, our special guest for today, the community manager of Sovryn, Mr. Gimp. So once again, Gimp, thank you so much for your time with us here on the show.
No, thank you for having me. It's great. This is my my first podcast I've ever done. So thank you for having me.
All right. And also, I would like to thank all of our subscribers and viewers who are tuning here to our exclusive Audra podcast with Gimp, the community manager of Sovryn. So I hope you guys have learned so much from this interview. So if you have any questions that were not answered yet right here in this exclusive Audra podcast session, I would invite you guys to leave down your comments right here on this video, or you can go to their official Telegram or other social media channels. And of course, if you like what you're seeing right here in this video, kindly don't hesitate or think twice in sharing this exclusive interview to your crypto, blockchain, and DeFi colleagues out there. And one more thing, peeps, I'm inviting you all to smash the like button, hit subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for you to stay notified about my latest videos and interviews regarding cryptocurrencies, blockchain technology, and DeFi. And you can also follow my social media channels right here or in my YouTube description. Okay guys, so from my freaking home studio, this is Jeff aka Nomad Fury, and see you all on my next video. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Gimp.